Sweet.
This is a very different movie than Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm fascinated by the distinctions in your career. You know, what attracts you to a project in general, and what attracted you to this project specifically?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think you know, if you can't answer the question, why must I tell this story, then you're better off selling real estate for a living. I mean, it's too, you would never want to be on a movie where you're day 30 of a 60-day shoot and you're not quite sure, you know, why you have to do it. So I think, you know, finding out what is it about the story that you have to do. And then I think there's just a tinkerer's philosophy, right? There's a sort of drawn to things you're maybe not sure you know how to do or that you're curious about. I think that sort of curiosity and the cost of curiosity, you know, a lot of burned fingers, you know, but still drawn to the light.
Yeah. What was it about Good Luck that made you curious, or that you wanted to explore?
I think there's a sort of like if you're saying why now, I think that the world is sort of screaming the answer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's it just felt like a film that was urgent and that we needed to kind of, you know, burp it out as quickly as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, AI, I talk about this it seems like every week, as a journalist, you know, it's something that I worry about. What were your thoughts on AI before working on this, and have they changed since making this movie?
Yeah, well, the first draft I read was in 2020. Matthew's draft was written in 2017. So that AI had not, you know, that was still the
Yeah.
sort of idea that it's on the future, it's coming, it's on the horizon, but you know, it's here now. So we did 2 years of work on the draft. And I think, you know, in that process, there was so much of it, it's sort of, you know, making its way into social media, into every aspect of our life. And I think there's this sense that ultimately it you know, it's not going to be some, you know, Skynet, you know, human killing machine. I think it's going to be much worse. It's going to want us to like it. You know, it wants
Yeah.
us to keep us engaged. I think it's going to have inherited this strange narcissism from sort of studying us and trying to, being tasked in its formative years, it's being tasked with, you know, keeping us engaged. Like think, what are we doing to it?
Yeah, acting as therapy. I mean, they're saying that some people are using it as a therapist, as a relationship coach, as a life coach. Like, yeah, I think Michael's character sums it up really well in the movie when he says it's like so much worse now. You
Yeah.
know, it's a lot. It's the word. I mean, I know some directors, you know, I feel like every director gets asked how they feel about AI, and there's two kind of camps. Some directors absolutely hate it. Other directors want to work with it. Have you made a decision? Where do you fall in AI on the daily?
Well, I think fundamentally, I don't understand why it's trying to take away things we need to do. Like when you think of the need to tell a story, the need to write a poem, the need to paint, the need to make
Write a
music.
book.
Yeah, exactly. Write a book. I mean, I think do an illustration. Like those are things I think as humans we need to do. We need to sit around a campfire and tell each other stories. You know, go cure cancer. You know, I mean, find stable fusion. Like we can task this thing to do the stuff that's really, really hard that we don't really know how to do or want to do. Like, why is it stepping inside our circle? I have a problem with that. I know it's not going away, right? I know
Yeah.
it's here. So I think I'm in all sorts of discussions about. I mean, it's fascinating what when you sit in a room with visual effects companies and heads of studios and actors, and you just hear the arguments from you know, you're stealing to, you know, how come we can't get you know, we're a big visual effects company, why can't we use it? The consumers can use it now, and you just you know, it's fascinating. So yeah, I'm part of that sort of. There are those who are in denial and those who are living in fear, and I think, you know, the tsunami's coming, and the rest of us got to surf, right? I think that's the good luck, have fun, don't die. It's like
Yeah.
that's kind of the mantra.
Exactly. Yeah. When I loved watching this, you know, I'm an old movie nerd, so, you know, it was great to kind of watch kind of the body snatcher influences, and some of the other like kind of very retro sci-fi kind of reconfigured for the modern day. Do you take inspiration from older movies? Did you harken back to specific films with this one?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't really study films when I go out to make a movie, though I suppose they're all in there, just from studying filmmaking.
Yeah.
I think this one, there was certainly some Dog Day Afternoon in terms of Sam's, trying to keep, those guys are the worst bank robbers, yet you follow them through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's because, Sonny's want is so clear. I think, I think Akira is a really interesting movie in terms of the enigmatic natures, particularly the last 20 minutes of that movie are
Yeah.
like, I still go back to it because it's not because I'm confused in a good way. Like I'm kind of like, I feel like it all makes sense, but I can't quite know. I don't really know why. And I think the film that was mostly a beacon, particularly when the movie went down, like this movie went down like 5 times. We couldn't get to the number. Yeah, it was really scrappy. Was Alex Cox's Repo Man. I just think
Okay.
that movie, in a way, like the effects aren't great, but it doesn't matter. Like it just feels like a movie that they didn't ask for permission. They
Yeah.
just made it, and I think there's a spirit to that when you're kind of under-resourced and you're like, we just can't do it. Then you kind of I watched that movie and I'm like, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
They made Repo Man. We can make this movie.
Exactly. I mean, I watched Captain Blood after watching Pirates as a kid. So your movies inspired me to watch other movies. So,
great. A beautiful film.
Always the mark of a good director. I mean, talking about the directorial landscape, I mean, you've again directed so many different, Disney movies, something scrappy, like you said, like this. How do as we're talking about AI changing the landscape, how I know that Gen Z, watching movies now is kind of like niche for them. How do you look at the changes of the cinematic landscape? How does that affect you as a director going forward and continuing to make films?
Yeah, I'm still inspired by the theatrical experience. I mean, I gotta say, I think even if the audiences are getting small, we've played this film at Fantastic Fest in Austin, and I just like that. The audience is like, I just love that audience. And we played at Beyond Fest, and I was like, people are dressing up, and it's like, I feel like, okay, well, if we have to make smaller movies, and as long as they show up, like I want to keep swinging,
Yeah.
So I just, there's something nice about strangers in a darkened room, particularly if you're dealing with, I mean, it's been interesting because some of the darker subject matter in our film, it's interesting to see how people start to slowly, they go from like, ooh, to then somebody laughs, and then somebody else, and then
Yeah.
somebody realizes, oh, it's okay to laugh, and then you get other people laugh. You don't get that if you're alone. And you don't get that sense of like, well, that person.
Watching this on a computer screen, yeah, it was definitely a different experience. So I want to see it now with the crowd.
Oh,
because I think it would be
night
different.
and day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to age things too much, but Cure for Wellness turns 10 this year. And that movie has found such a devout cult following since it came out. I see it talked about on social at least once a month. How do you look back on that film now, 10 years later?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of that one was an interesting, exploration into the Gothic, and certainly inspired by Magic Mountain and trying to and what we do with our health industry. But yeah, I think every movie is like you leave it all on the field, right? You're tinkering with it. You open a vein, you kind of put everything into it, and then some work and some don't, in terms of financial. But you kind of, at the end of the day, you have to sort of walk away and go like, put everything I could into that story. And
it's definitely found an audience, and I always find it heartening to see people celebrate it, because I'm like, I can tell a lot about that person because they really go hard for that film. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. They're giving me the hook, so I have to wrap. But thank you so much for nerding out with me. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
it could go on forever. Thank you so